with Georgia Senator and Trump supporter, Republican David Perdue. Senator, thanks for being here.
I'm glad to be here, Brett.
Senator, I want to start with just a basic question. What do you think Donald Trump has to do tomorrow night?
Well, I think he has to reveal Hillary Clinton. Hillary is talking about doubling down and giving us a third term of Barack Obama and the failed policies. If he stays to that high ground, he wins not only this debate, but he goes to the White House. Look, this is a trail of tears that she's talking about, and I hope this debate shows a stark contrast between two totally different directions for our country. One that Hillary is espousing and one that Donald Trump was talking about.
Senator, you know the Clinton campaign is trying to tie the Trump campaign and Donald Trump to Russia, and specifically Vladimir Putin, all of his actions. In fact, now you have the Western diplomats at the UN saying Russia is tied to the Syrian actions that are happening currently in Aleppo. The Clinton campaign is out with an ad. I want to play a little bit of it and get you to react.
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
An ABC News investigation has found his real estate fortunes have benefited greatly from Russian investors, putting a get-tough U.S. policy with Russia in direct conflict with his bottom line.
That's perhaps one more reason why we're not seeing his tax returns, because he is deeply involved with Russian oligarchs.
So your thoughts, Senator, about their efforts to tie and what ties there are?
Well, having done business in Russia, I can speak to this. This is a perfect Democratic distraction away from the high ground that we just talked about. She wants to make this about Donald Trump. And really what he's got to talk about tomorrow night is her failings as Secretary of State. The Russia reset was hers. She was there when they prematurely pulled out of Iraq and left the door wide open for ISIS. She also is the one that lied to us about Benghazi and her emails and about her foundation. So her record as Secretary of State is woeful, and I think this is another attempt to distract voters away from the real issues. And look, the real issues coming back again is our ability to defend our country, which ties back to what Donald Trump's talking about, is this economic crisis that you see being manifested in our cities right now with this turmoil. Look, this is a situation that is bigger than Donald Trump. This movement has been out there for a few years. I saw it in my race in Georgia in 2014. It's not going away, and polls are not picking it up. I really believe that people out there are hurting. They're struggling getting from payday to payday, and all of these distractions just makes them their intensity actually grow, which is a thing that nobody's really talking about in this campaign.
Yeah. Well, Senator, on that issue, on the economy, you're a Republican, you are a businessman, and now the nominee of your party is speaking against trade deals. He's against the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. He talks about trade deals being bad for America, how they've been negotiated in the past. How do you reconcile with that with your background?
Well, what he's saying is the truth. I've said the same thing for 30 years in my career, is that I wanted a level playing field. That's all he's asking for, is to treat our markets the same way that they treat theirs, and to protect our manufacturers and our workers. That's all he's saying, and I support that fully. Look, it's no doubt that in the last 40 years, 50 years even, we have not moved, since the Great Society was signed in the mid-60s, we haven't moved the needle on domestic poverty. But we've moved the needle globally on poverty because of our open markets and because of these deals that have favored the third world. And so he's saying right now, until we get this equilibrium back, he's going to be for fair trade and make sure that we protect our factories and our workers. That's all I hear him saying, which is the same thing I've been saying all during my career.
Senator, I know you were at the opening of the African American Museum, the Smithsonian Museum of African American History and Culture the other day. You know that issue of how those communities are being dealt with by policing is a huge issue with Charlotte and Tulsa and what we've seen. If you look at the latest poll, Donald Trump is down 83 points with black voters. How do you think that he can change that dynamic, and is he trying to change it?
Well, of course he's trying to change it. I think he's out there talking to that community as she is. But I really think the issue here is about security. If you talk to people that are in those communities, and by the way, we have the story that nobody really talked about, and that is Charleston. You know, with that tragedy happened there, that community came together and gave us a model, really. And that's honestly what this African American Museum is all about. It's not just about our history and the history of African Americans and their culture. It's about our future. I believe this president's been one of the most divisive presidents in our history, and you see that playing out in our cities today. And Hillary Clinton is only going to double down on those policies that have created this. I heard some of your guests earlier in the week talk about the economic issues are causing some of this frustration, and I firmly believe that. So when Donald Trump talks about growing the economy, it's about growing the economy for everybody, and that's what people back home want to hear.
Senator Perdue, we thank you for your time.
Good to see you, Brett.